All right, welcome back, everybody. It's been a very sideways day, lack of action. However, we did see another rejection from around 7,000 late last night while the US was mostly asleep. So we'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at the CME because we did close for the weekend. So we know if we dump, then we'll probably fill that gap back up and take a look at a comparison between, this hopeful bottom compared to the 2018 bottom. And we can also talk about, is Bitcoin recession proof? This is Bitcoin's time to shine, okay? So we'll talk about that as well. This is Crypto Rolly, the crypto watch that never stops. Live technical analysis, price predictions, and trading. This is not financial advice. These are my own ideas and opinions on the market. So please do your own research. Trade at your own risk. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, tick the bell for notifications. Let's roll. All right. Going over to the market, we can see slightly down, mostly sideways. Like I said, the volume has dropped down to about 1.3 billion, and I imagine this will probably slow down and go even lower. Weekends are typically slow, so if you thought today was boring, it might get even more boring over the weekend. However, I feel like there's always like one big move over the weekend, and then it just goes the opposite way when CME opens. Seems to be the trend on the weekend. Crypto Fear and Greed Index still at a 14, still hanging out low. Not much has changed, guys. And then the block halving, 39 days away. 39 days away. So this is important. We're actually going to talk about this right now because, and I'm going to look at the stock market S&P 500 for you. But before I go into that, I want to say, we saw with the initial news of the pandemic, we saw, traditional markets, they dumped hard and Bitcoin dumped hard as well. However, right now, Bitcoin is creeping back up to where we started the year out. We started the year out in January around 7K. We'll look at the chart and show that. And if we break out bullish, we'll go back to break even where a lot of the other markets are clearly down. So yes, we did drop initially with the global markets, but this is Bitcoin's time to shine, okay? The whole reason that Bitcoin was built, it was built in a recession, and it was supposed to be designed for this type of scenario. So we have the block halving in 39 days. This is making it more difficult to mine new Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a fixed 21 million amount, right? And we make it harder every 4 years or so to mine this Bitcoin, where the US government's printing fiat out of thin air, right? So as the money, as US dollars are just printed out of nowhere, they're making it easier to mine essentially. And, they're devaluing fiat. Bitcoin is staying at a fixed amount and making it harder to mine. So this is exactly what Bitcoin was designed for. So could we see a decoupling now? Maybe. Otherwise, the trend has been following the stock market. So let's take a look at that real quick, guys. We'll take a look at just the S&P 500 real quick. I wanted to show some levels because we're looking at the daily did finish bearish today, and I'm not the only one who's seen the correlation over the past month, so it's definitely valid to check on. If we look at our weekly, we'll throw on the moving averages, okay? On the moving averages, we closed this weekly beneath the 200 simple and 200 EMA, which is definitely a bear market signature. We came back, retested it, and then we were rejected. This weekly candle was definitely, a rejection, potential reversal to come back further. There's definitely people still calling for a 30% drop from this point, which is really, really low. Potential, support levels I was looking at, if you just, use previous price action, we're looking at potentially, 2100 area, the top of this. So this was resistance, flip support. So you're looking at possibly 2100 if we continue farther down. And then you can just, keep drawing your horizontals, at the bottom side of this range, that's 1850. And if you go really far out, you can see you had resistance here. And if you dumped hard, like that 30% they're talking about, because what's 30% from current price? 30% is somewhere around this region, okay? But actual doomsday, maybe down here at 1500. So just looking at that, and we're going to monitor this. Does the stock market continue to fall next week when we open back up? Do we retest these lows down here? And will Bitcoin follow? Or maybe they both are bullish. We could see that. We could see both of them break. Maybe, the stock market, for whatever reason, breaks back above the 200 simple, and Bitcoin also breaks bullish. But I would say a majority of people, the unemployment, we're talking about 6.6 million people applied for unemployment. We're talking about another full month of businesses being shut down, minimum of a full month. So, the markets might end up dumping again. So do the markets dump and Bitcoin breaks out bullish? That's what we're watching to see. We're going to see last month, yes, totally correlated. But this coming month, do they decouple or do they continue to follow? So that was my main point of this video. I saw this was pretty interesting here as well. This was analyzing Bitcoin's 2018 bottom to predict the current movement and basically using fractals. So basically, this was 2018. They're comparing this most recent drop the other day to that point there. And you can see here how they've drawn, fractals of this being almost identical. But, the thing that I'm noticing is, so you see that's where we are now. They're calling for a little bit of downside and then breaking, this like ascending triangle. And it does look like a possible ascending triangle. So here's another situation breakdown and up, which would be like right here. But, this scenario is still talking about a little bit of a dip as well. And so that's what I'm looking for, a possible dip. Maybe we dip over the weekend, and then when CME opens back up, fill the gap and then retest, our resistance level. So let's look at where the CME closed real quick. CME. So the CME closed the weekly, we got 3 weekly bullish candles in a row on the weekly, but you're still like in this sideways consolidation. So, are we looking at a bear flag? That's the question, right? That's definitely the question. But we did finish this week bullish. You are under all major moving averages on the weekly, though. And I guess I just wanted to see where it closed. I think that was the main reason I came here. So we closed right around this region. It's on CME price saying 67.15. So going over to our Bitstamp chart, that looks right where we are currently, 67.50. So I'd say right where we are currently is where CME dropped. Or closed. So if we dump over the weekend, say down here, test around 6,500, or further, wherever we dip, there's going to be a gap above, and we may look to fill that and then attempt back up on Monday. Or say we pump over the weekend, we're going to have a gap below and then potentially fill that below when we open up. Okay, so these are the possibilities going into the weekend that we're looking at. All right. I do want to mention again that I have this group for you, limited time free. The link is down in the description below, so definitely come check that out. We've had over 40 people join in the past 2 or 3 days, so thank you everyone who's joined. Look forward to more people joining. I like having the community, people to talk about, especially over the weekend. Sometimes price action is slow, so might as well just, talk about some Tether FUD. You know what I mean? And then also tomorrow I want to do a live stream for the group members only. So live stream 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time. Let's do it. I'll provide the link for my members only. So go ahead and join now. All right. So price is at 67.80, going for a little bit of a push here, I see. Let's see. So we're being held down. We're just stuck in the sideways range between the yellow 21 EMA which is at 67.86, and then this orange 50 EMA at 67.30. So, potentially if you close beneath or above, you should get that next move. But you can see that happened here, and then we just bounced up anyways. So, these indicators aren't as reliable right now. It looks like we're just chopping sideways mostly. So let me zoom out, and then we'll go to the weekly, and then we'll come back down to the 4 hour, see where we are. We did just get an hourly close, so we popped up right after this one. Okay, so we're keeping our eye on that. Going over to the weekly, we are above the 200 EMA, and it's looking like a bullish candle. We did get rejected beneath this 100 EMA here at 7,300. We were rejected. So we want to get back above that level. You can see where we had support here, and now it's flipped as resistance. So this is a classic support flipped resistance scenario. Do we get rejected and then continue down further? That's what we're afraid of. That's what it looks like might happen with the stock markets. It looks pretty similar here, So we saw that the stocks dropped, came back, retested, and then got rejected. So is that what Bitcoin ends up doing, maybe on the next week candle? We'll have to see. Otherwise, maybe we break out, and we'll get to that in a second, I think, on the daily chart. So we're looking at support at 58.83, and then your resistance at 7,300 using your moving averages. Your stochastic's still coming down on the weekly, so the pressure's still coming down, and you still haven't been oversold yet on the weekly. And if you notice, when we bottomed back here in 2015, we actually bottomed on the weekly RSI. When we bottomed in 2018, we also hit the oversold on the RSI. So we haven't done that quite yet. Okay, so we're still monitoring that. How am I doing on time? 12 minutes. Okay, still doing well. Bollinger Bands. On the Bollinger Bands, we did bounce off the bottom Bollinger Band, and we could test all the way up to 78.21 as the middle BB resistance on the weekly Bollinger Bands. Moving forward, Ichimoku Clouds. Ichimoku Clouds, we also hit that similar 7,300 resistance here, okay? So we're just keeping our eye on that over the weekend. The CME did close bullish. I did show that already. Okay, so the daily. Going to the daily, you can see that we are between this range now, 7,300. Actually, this is at the pink baseline is at 71.75, and your blue conversion line at 58.36. That's on Ichimoku Cloud, the daily. So this is Bitstamp. Let me go over to my Coinbase chart real quick. Hold on. So yeah, looking at the ascending triangle, that's what I wanted to say. So yeah, we're looking at a potential ascending triangle. You can draw these all sorts of ways. That's why they're pretty subjective sometimes. But you can see we had support here, so we can go ahead and draw that. If we drop today, that's coming in around 62, 6,300. If we drop tomorrow, it's moving up 6,350, and each day it's going to move up. And if you zoom in, I have this horizontal that we have drawn that, we closed back beneath 7,800. I wanted to see us close the daily above 7,800 because this is our resistance. You can see it a little clearer on the 4 hour possibly. So yeah, we were rejected here. This whole way, this price action couldn't get above 7,800. And then once we were able to close, this candle above 7,815, how I described yesterday, we did get that pump. We were rejected back down. And you know what? We went for it again, rejected hard again. So that's two nasty rejections in a row. And this time we closed, the daily back beneath this 7,800 level. So to me, this is definitely a clear resistance level. Okay. So do we continue and fill this out some more? Or are we able to close a daily back above and continue higher? That's what we're watching to see. So keep in mind this 7,800. We're banging up against it, 67.90. So we'll get back to that in a second. We'll look at the lower time frames in a second. So looking at the daily, that's what I'm looking at here. And if you lose this level, you have a flat horizontal line you could probably draw here around 5,900. So lose that, then that, lose that. Now you're talking about low 5K, okay? One level at a time, as I usually say. Now, we did close, open and close another candle above the 21 EMA. So, we could make an attempt up here again. 72.58 is where the orange 50 EMA is coming down currently right now. So maybe we're in a new range here if we are able to find support above 6,800. Okay, so we can look to see that. We're sitting on support, so. Let's keep it moving. The daily looking to cross back up potentially. It's kind of snaking around, waiting on Bitcoin to make its move. Since we've been going sideways, I mean, this could go either way. If we dump, this will come this way. If we pump, we'll go that way. So we'll have to see what's happening with that as well. Then we can look at the Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands, we are, hold on. Still in the bullish zone here, and your middle BB supports at 62.60. Okay, going down to the 12-hour. The 12-hour, this was a pretty bearish, I would say, candle. Definitely engulfing. It's larger than this one here, and it looks like a reversal. We rejected from the top side of the 12-hour Bollinger Band, but we are just hitting this. There's a lot of trading here, so this could be a decent support zone. Your middle BB is at 65.10. That would be the support on the 12-hour there. And using your moving averages, we are sitting above the orange 50 EMA at 6,700 still. So you do have quite a bit of support here, but it just feels bearish just after those those big rejections. This one and then this one, we are forming potentially, like, we could also maybe draw a trend line here. So maybe we go up again to stab at it. If we get rejected a third time and come back down, I think that will be even more bearish. I don't know what to say. So we do have this horizontal resistance, and now we have a downtrend that we can draw as well. And then on top of all that, looking at the 4-hour, you have the pink 200 simple coming down, and you have the 200 EMA. To be bullish, I would like to be closing above here. And you know what? We actually did close above here. We closed above here, opened and closed, and then dumped. So, like I said, some of these moving averages haven't been as reliable. It almost seems like the market makers are kind of playing with us, because they know what we're looking at, and they know what the typical confirmation would be, and then they end up just dumping it. Hold on, I was getting blurry. Let's see if I can come back. There I am. I'm back. All right. So yeah, guys, under resistance and above support. Just that's why we're going sideways. Looking at the 4-hour, looking to possibly, it hasn't crossed back up, but could possibly cross back up if we do break above 7,800. Going back to the 12-hour Stokes. 12-hour Stokes, they're still rising. They haven't started crossing down yet. Okay, so that's that. And the Bollinger Bands, we talked about that. Ichimoku Cloud. Ichimoku Cloud, we are in the 12-hour cloud. Your support down here at 65.72. Your resistance would be the top of the cloud around 71.90. So let's continue back to my 4-hour. Ichimoku, you are sitting on support here, 67.26. You lose that, your next level would be 65.72 on the Ichimoku clouds. We looked at the stochastics, looking to possibly curl up, but hasn't been confirmed. If we dump, this will continue to come down. And then I was also looking at these trend lines here. So you could, like I said, you can draw however you like to draw. Let's see. On the RSI, we're looking at something like this, a bit of a channel here on the RSI. And, looking at it closer, if this breaks down, that would be another signal that we could get a short-term dump here. So, do we hold this and bounce here, or do we break it? And, that's kind of lining up with something like this. Hold on. Let me zoom into that. It kind of looks like we have a channel there. I'll just make these a different color so it doesn't get too confusing. So you have this bit of a channel here. So, you know, I think if we break that RSI, we'll definitely come and test back down here and then potentially there and then there. You want to freeze frame or screenshot that? Those would be like the levels using, you know, drawing tools. But I've also shown you what to look for with your indicators. We looked at the moving averages. Yes, we did. The Bollinger Bands. Right, you have support here at 66.37 middle BB. Ichimoku we did look at as well. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at. It is sideways, but you know, can they break back above 7,800? If they do, you have this downtrend, so you want to see if this breaks as well. So can you get back above here and here? Maybe you make another attempt at it. But, you know, even if you do break this, you still are at risk of, you know, lower highs. You could even, I'm drawing all sorts of lines right now. This is what happens when price is very slow and indecisive. You just start looking for any type of clue. But so, you know, using the candle bodies, you could draw this going that way. So even if you broke here, you come up and test up in this region, and got rejected, you're still putting in a high, lower high, lower high, okay? So that is that, guys. Price 67.80. You know, look, the volume's pretty low as well. You know, this is why it's hard to get a breakout, you know, over the weekend with low volume, because it can look like it's going to make that move, but there's no volume to really push it forward, and that's why we just end up chopping sideways usually. All right, I think I talked about everything. This is Bitcoin's time to shine. Hit the like, guys. It's been 21 minutes. Okay, cool. So, guys, you know, tomorrow, 10 a.m., live stream for my group members. I can take requests. We can, you know, just chat. If there's anything you want to look at together, we can do it together. You know, altcoins, for example. You know, briefly, I'll show you we are still... You know, after yesterday's video, we are still under all of those resistance levels that I talked about. This is Tezos, still in the symmetrical triangle, still below resistance. Going over to Link, you know, still below the horizontal resistance, did not get a daily close above it. You know, I want to see a daily close, guys, above this horizontal resistance before I would take a trade in Link. You know, Ethereum, same situation. We were drawing this rising channel on the daily, again closed back beneath it, so I want to see a daily close back above that. We're still under resistance. XRP, you know, is also still in a rising wedge here and looking like potentially risking dropping out of that rising wedge. No, on the 4 hour it still looks good. So if you do break beneath that, guys, you know, XRP might get a little dump. You're definitely in a rising channel, rising wedge, however you want to call it. And you could draw a horizontal resistance right here as well. I would say, you know, about what, 18 cents, around 18 cents. But I will say with XRP, I did notice that, you know, unlike, let's go to the daily. If you look at Tezos and Ethereum, they're below their yellow 21 EMA, but XRP is above its 21 EMA. So if XRP can maintain support above here, you could get a, you know, a test at the 50 EMA on the daily at 19.5 cents. Okay, so you can see Tezos is below its yellow 21 EMA. On the daily, Link is below its 21 EMA, and as Ethereum is also below its 21 EMA. So you're going to need to see daily closes above those levels. Anyways, it's been long enough video, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow in the live stream, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time. All right, y'all have a good weekend. See you soon.